Welcome to a short tutorial on how to use this Markbook. As you can see, the Markbook is already populated with a class. What I'm going to show you how to do is enter a new piece of work and then all the different things that the Markbook is capable of doing. So if we go to the next blank set of columns, the first thing that you need to put in is this section here. So if you click the arrow, it tells you the type of work that you want to put in. Let's say we've just done a homework and we're going to put this in. Underneath, you need to put a description of this work. It is important to put this in, otherwise when you do the analysis tab, it won't work properly. So let's call this Algebra 1. Underneath, you've got the place to enter the date. So today is the 6th of the 1st, 16. And then here, you need to put the maximum score available for this homework. So let's make that out of 50. Underneath, you need to choose your grade boundaries. So here we've got the available grade boundaries to us. I'm going to click on Foundation. To change these, the values of these, if you go to the Grade tab here, you can alter them here. So if we go back to the class, now we can enter the raw scores. So we can put 40 in. As you can see, it automatically fills in the percentage, it looks up the grade from the grade boundary, and then on track refers to the target grade on over here. So if we were to change this target grade, it would change the on track. And we can go through, fill in the different scores, and you can see the grade, the Markbook automatically updates. If you try and put a score in over, well, the maximum score was 50, so 52 isn't allowed, so the spreadsheet will recognize that. Right, if we fill in the rest of those scores, and then look what else the Markbook can do. If you come up to the top left here, you can see there's two symbols. This will take you to this guide. The question mark here gives you tips and tricks on how to use the Markbook and how hopefully not to break it. If you click on the menu button, it gives you all the available things that you can do. So I'll go through these one by one and just demonstrate how they work. So if we click on Filter to start with, what this allows you to do is actually filter for the types of work at the top. So here we can see we've got the assessment times questions or homework. If I click on the times questions and press Filter, okay, you get to see only your timed questions, and it automatically updates your average on track and your average percentage. If you then want to see everything again, click back to the menu, click the filter, click show all, and you get to see everything. If we go back to the menu, if we click unhide all, we get to see all the data held on our students. We've got the UPN here, which is really important that you put in, otherwise the Markbook won't work correctly. If you don't know these, you can make them up, as long as there is something in this column here. You've got the surname, the forename, class. These three columns here, in our school we use teacher, tier and form. These can be changed to whatever you want. They get hidden, so whatever data you feel you need to put in there, that's available to you. So if we go back up to the menu and press Compact View, we can see all those get hidden, and all we're left with are the names and the additional information. With any set of scores, you can filter or sort. So for example, we might want to look at this piece of coursework here and sort from largest to smallest. Okay. Or what we can do alternatively, if you want to look at all your scores all together, if you come over to the median on track, we can sort these. So largest to smallest, and we can see that the students in red here are the students most not on track and maybe might be a target of our intervention. If we go back up to the View menu, we can do an individual analysis. So if we click this button here, it gives us the list of all the students. So you can choose any student, click Summary Sheet, okay, and it will provide the summary sheet for you. Okay, in the same way, if we want to print all the summary sheets for the pupils, you can do that there. I'm not going to click yes, that would send it all to the printer, but if you were to do that, it would print every single student in your class. So we'll click no, and we will cancel that. Back to the menu. If you want, there's two ways to add a single student. You can go to unhide all and just type in the student here, or alternatively, you can add a single student here. And it will automatically add it into your spreadsheet. At this point, you would probably want to put in your student's target grade, and if you want, you can then go fill in any scores that might be relevant. So here, I could fill that one in. Right, if we look at this button here, export class results. Often in a school you might have to send your data centrally. What people don't usually like is a whole Markbook sent to them with all the different scores. So what you can do is send a single set of scores. So the most recent one here was the Algebra 1. I might want to send that to somebody else in my department. So if I click that and click export, it provides it in a different spreadsheet where you've got all the key information, and at the end you've got the raw score to allow that other person in the department to record that essentially. The last thing I'm going to show you how to do is remove a student. So whether there's a set change or a student's left your school, if you click on the view menu, you can click remove student, choose your student, click remove. It will remove it from your Markbook, but that student's data will still be stored, and if you scroll down to the bottom of your page, you can see it is stored in row 100. So you've still got that data, but they are not there in your active Markbook. I hope this helps. The next video that will follow will show you how to create a Markbook from scratch, so given a blank Markbook, how to import the scores in the correct format. In this section, I'm going to show you how to use the grade boundaries. So if we look at the most recent assessment, we can see that the grade on the on-track, the formula isn't working. The reason this is we haven't chosen the grade boundary. So we could choose it to be the same as the previous one, so I could put foundation and the grade boundaries fill in, and these read from the grade boundaries tab down here. So if I click this, we can see here that the foundation has all the grades, so we go from U up to C, and it also has the percentage to attain that grade. So we can see 0.7, we need 70% to attain a C. To change these, it's just simply a matter of changing in that cell and changing it to the required percentage. So maybe we need 80% for a C, so I can change that to 0.8. If we press update, we can then go back to the class tab, and we can see anybody over 80% will have gained a C. So let's change this one here to maybe 30 marks. Over 80%, we can see it's a C. One other thing that we can do is, rather than entering the grade boundaries on the grade boundaries tab, is enter in the raw marks down here. This is for scores where we're not looking up the percentage, we would prefer to look up the raw scores. This is usually the case when you've done maybe a past paper and the marked grade boundaries are in the raw scores. The way to do this is by clicking here and clicking on Enter Grade Boundaries. It will bring up this tab here. You choose the range of grades that you want, so in this case it's foundation, so it's C to G grades, and then you can enter the raw score required. So if we look down to this picture that I've taken from the website, we can see that a C is 31 marks out of 35. If we click Enter Grade Boundaries, we can see those have all updated to reflect the raw score down here. Whilst I did this through this cell here, I could have changed them here. So for example, we can see that this person here has got 30 marks and they've got a D. If I were to change this raw score here to a 30, then we can see that 30 has now become a C. The last section is showing how to set up a blank Markbook. So depending on the database that your school uses will depend on the format that is output. Here we use Sims, and you might be familiar with this output here. So what we can do, you can either do this manually, but if you've got your Markbook open as well, if you go to the Developer tab, you can click on this button here, Macros. For some of you, the Developer tab won't be visible, so instead you can just press Alt and F8 and it will bring this up here. This will be selected because it will probably be the only macro available to you, and if you click Run, it will put the data in the right format. Whilst this can be done using the macro, it can also be done manually, so whichever is easiest for you, then you can use that. So if we highlight what's needed, so from here to here, I'm going to press Ctrl and C to copy it and then open up my blank Markbook. At this point, I'm going to make sure that I click in cell A8. If I paste that in, and then all I need to do is click View Menu, press Compact View, and I'm ready to enter my target grade, any additional information, and then I can start filling in scores.